All right, my friends, so we are back again looking at the wiring. The last video I came through here and I installed all of these screws, all right? Regardless of what you do, come back with the regular hand drive screwdriver and go ahead and make sure these guys are tight. What you don't want is you don't want water leaks, and I've never ever needed a gasket in any of these. And you can certainly, again, test it as long as you don't get the water level up too high. You can put your hose in here, pinch this off, and actually squirt water back there, excuse me, and fill it to an extent with water and check for leaks. But again, I don't bother to do that anymore. I'm pretty confident of the way they're set up and the way they work. So what we need to do now is put this duct back in, and it basically sits right in this area, almost resting on the bottom shelf here, okay? It takes a fender washer and then one of these flange serrated washers. Just spin that on there like so. The same goes for up here. Excuse me. And then again, just hand tight. So that's the way I want it. Not too tight. And I'm going to change this. I want this guy, I want the connectors out in the bottom, but what I have done is I like the little plant grill that I make to actually look like a plant. Now remember, fans have two sides, okay? They have a vacuum and a pressure side basically. And almost all of my assemblies for these ducted fans bring air in from somewhere and then push it via the duct somewhere else, okay? And here we go. And that is this side of the fan. So if you disconnect a fan assembly, don't put it in the wrong way. Okay, if you put it in and you see the label when it comes apart, you make sure you see the label when it goes back in. If you don't see the label, then don't put it back in that way. Make sure that you see the right side. So back again with these guys. All right. And I wanted the connector at the bottom, right? So now I'm going to work here in the dark a little bit. See that we can get it all put back together. There we go. So again, this should also give you a little bit of an idea if you had to change parts or actually fix something, you can always do that in the future with one of my projects. It's fairly simple to do. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here with the proper size tool, and I'm just going to snug it up. Okay. And since this video is supposed to be about wiring, I guess we probably better get to that. So I'm going to go ahead and release this and get this bundle of wires down to where it's more manageable. And if you watch the other videos, you know that I kind of have two groups here. I have the brown power wire for the cooler fan, and then the red and green 12-volt wires. And then I also have the control wire assembly. So let's just start with the control wire assembly, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and punch this grommet out. Okay. Now, when you see these guys, they're actually kind of a nipple, right? And they have a little ridge in them, and they typically go in from a backside and seal around. Now, these are actually what are called, you know, they're basically designed for you to pierce them, and you can pierce them with wire. So you can go ahead and do that. I have this handy dandy little punch tool, so I punch mine out. Okay, but you don't have to have one of those. You can poke a screwdriver through it, all right, and get it. Now remember, it comes from the back into this box, all right? So the first thing you're going to do is decide kind of which wires you want to go where, and straighten out this loom somewhat. This is always fun to do on video. Okay, so that set is totally separate. So now we're just going to straighten these guys out. And I make these actually way too long, typically. But sometimes I never know when someone will want to mount a controller on the outside of a project or whatnot. Okay, so we're going to go in there like so. Just going to continue. Let's get that bad boy out of the way. And again, sometimes they get bound up, knotted up. You just got to be patient with them. Okay, I've been patient enough. Now, before you get one of these wire assemblies, you might see that they're stripped on the end, and that's because I tested the connector. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want you guys to get something and have it not work. So it's going to be a lot easier if they're not connected. So I just trimmed all the ends off. So now that it's run through the box, all right, we gather them up. And again, this can be kind of tedious, so I apologize, but it is what it is. And then what you do is you feed them through the front end, okay, or the outside of the nipple, like so. Okay? And 4 wires. And I think, make a little recount here of what we're going to have in this cooler. And I think 4 wires should probably do me. Looks like I lost that one. Didn't get all 4. So let's try to get the gray back in there. Okay, so there's the gray. So we got all 4. Thread them through, pull them through like that. Okay, so there's that 4-wire assembly. Now, 4 wires for one of these jumbo guys is probably pretty good. Now you can put more wires through it if you want, but I think 4 is probably okay. So what we're probably going to do here is on this side we'll bring the high voltage for the controller. That's the white and black wire through this side. And then maybe through this upper one here we're going to bring the power wire for this guy. Okay, and we're going to need to bring some wires in here for this. So I'll tell you what we're going to do is we will bring the black and white for the controller through this guy, and then we'll bring the line voltage for the heater, which is going to set in here somewhere. So that's going to be another 4-wire set, so that's what we're going to use there. And everything else we'll go ahead and bring through the other side, the smaller grommet side. So let me stop talking. Let's go ahead and put this in. You just push these from the back with your finger, right? And then just kind of put them till they seat around. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so now you can see that a little bit better. So you can see that this is now firmly seated all the way around. Okay, so that's the idea. So we will zoom back out here some. And we will separate out this one, the thin wire, this, say, speaker wire, because that is going to get power from this assembly up here. So let's just segregate him and put it aside. He's not going to go through the junction box at all. And now, so we can get this out of the way, I think what we're going to do make this a little simpler on us is we'll put a couple of zip ties on it now that it's already fed through there, just so we can keep it as a bunch. All right. So there, I've just zip tied these guys together, and we'll clip off the excess on the zip tie. Clip this off here, and this conduit right there, that feeds down into the back, to the back of the cooler. Remember, that's where all of this stuff is going to land. So straighten them out a little bit so they don't cause you chaos, and go through here and feed it into the back. Now I'm going to take a gander back there real quick just to make sure that it hasn't split and wrapped itself around something. And it has not. It's just one nice bunch. But what did I do? Well, you see, I did something stupid. What I did is I fed it through itself. So that's dumb. We definitely don't want to do that. So we're going to straighten it out one more time. We're going to make sure that it's not fed through itself, because that will just be a pain in the butt. And we're going to do it one more time. And I don't know what happened to that zip tie that I put on there. There we go, we're fed back into the back again. Move that out of the way. Okay, now look, you don't have to do this if you don't want, but usually I give ample wire. So what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to set myself up a little safety loop, okay? So I might put a little bit of extra wire in here than what I really need, just in case I cut something short. Okay, so you can do it any way you want, all right? But I'm going to leave it so that A, I can get my fingers in there and I can work on the other grommets, and B, so that in case I cut this short, I don't give myself a problem, okay? So with 13 minutes left on this video, we can probably feed another one of these. And let's go ahead, like I said, we're going to use line voltage over here. So let's pick on this one to take our red and green and our brown wires. So let's pop this guy out. All right. Now this is a smaller, but I'm just going to use the same one anyway. I'm going to punch the end out. Remember, these are considered a pierce-through type connector, so you don't have to worry about punching a hole in them. You can punch a hole in them with an ice pick or just about anything. And most of the time is just spent taking wire that was on a spool and straightening it out, which is silly, but it is what it is. Okay, so now I have the brown set and the red and green set. So we're going to pull those in here. All right. Okay. Alright, and then also the brown is going to to go through here as well. Alright, now remember, they're going to go through the nipple. It's going to come this way, right? And we're going to feed that from the inside, so we'll start with the green. The green and red. And we'll feed those through. And they got to go all the way through the back, remember? And as we shorten this up, what's next? What's next is the brown. The brown has to go through there. We've already done that, right? Okay, and through the back. And I don't have the yellow, which is the wire for the humidifier set yet, made up yet. So what I do is, again, I push from the inside and I kind of pull from the outside. You got to be a little bit, gotta have a little dexterity with your fingers, okay? And then you can feel around the outside when this guy is all seated, okay? And we need plenty of wire so that we can bunch this nicely. Alright, which means a little bit more here. And what we'll do is we'll start to think about how we want it laid out. You know, whether we're going to stick it here or pull it down here. We'll probably add a couple of different of the pad connectors in different locations, but that's why there's plenty of wire. Alright? So same with this green, black, this green, red, brown set. We're going to get rid of it and we're going to send it back to the back because that's where it's going to tie in. And same with the brownie. Do the same thing with him. Straighten him out a little bit. Send it back into the back. Make sure that that's out of the way. Alright, and now the mess that we had in the front. Oh, shouldn't have spoke so soon. We still have a mess in the front. Still have our mess alert here. Let's pull the brown a little more. Okay. And so now they're basically dangling on the floor back there. Looks like I got a little kink. We'll straighten that out. And like before, what we can do is, you know, we can reserve some wire inside this box if we have to or if we want to. Don't get yourself in this mindset that everything's got to be pulled, you know, string tight. We don't want to do that. Since I want the videos to be under 20 minutes, that's going to be the end of this one. We'll come back in the next video and we will complete some more wiring. So thanks for watching.